Well, that was inspirational, as we knew it would be. And like I said earlier, to our earlier leadership group, in the past years, up until Rick's ascension to this important position that leads us worldwide, things were a little bit lackluster. And he's put an energy spark into the organization that makes me feel proud, that makes all of us feel proud. And that was inspirational. And yes, we are going to, what's the word? Kick bottom. I'm English background. You can't say naughty words. Anyway, Martin, what are we doing now?
You were going to share an anecdotal story with us.
I will. I want to read you something. I was trying to tie it in to what Rick was saying. You get out of life what you put into it, energy, hard work, you become successful. Compassion for people, giving back. This is a story somebody sent me about 3 months ago, which I kept for this event. And it's a great story. His name was Fleming, and he was a poor Scottish farmer. One day, while trying to make a living for his family, he heard a cry from a field coming afar from his farming area. And he ran, and there was a bog, and in the bog was a young boy, right up to his waist in muck, who was terrified, screaming and struggling to free himself. So Farmer Fleming saved the lad from what could have been a very terrifying death. The next day, this is a true story, by the way. The next day, a fancy carriage pulled up to the Scotsman's sparse surroundings, and an elegantly dressed nobleman stepped out and introduced himself as the father of the boy Farmer Fleming had saved. "I want to repay you," he said. "You saved my son's life." "No, I can't accept a penny," said the Scotsman. Or he would have said, "Oh, no, I can't accept nothing." That's a Scottish accent, okay? The Scottish farmer replied, "I will turn this down. It was my honor. That's what one does." And his son, the Scottish farmer's son, came into the background, and the nobleman said, "Is that your son?" And he said, "Yes." And he said, "Well," he said, "here's what I insist on doing. I want to make a deal with you. Let me provide your son with a level of education my own son will enjoy. If the lad is anything like his father, like you, he'll no doubt grow out to be a very important and successful person that you can be proud of." Farmer Fleming's son attended the very best schools and in time graduated from St. Mary's Hospital Medical School in London and went on to become known throughout the world as the famous Sir Alexander Fleming, the discoverer of penicillin. Years afterwards, the same nobleman's son, who was saved from the bog, was stricken with, at that time, a raging outbreak of pneumonia. What saved his life? Penicillin. And the name of the nobleman, Lord Randolph Churchill, his son's name, Sir Winston Churchill. Isn't that amazing? Someone once said, "What goes around comes around," and that certainly happened in my life. Work like you don't need the money. Love like you've never been hurt. Dance like nobody's watching. Sing like nobody's listening. Live like it's heaven on earth. May there always be work for your hands to do. May your purse always hold a coin or two. May the sun always shine on your window pane. May a rainbow be certain to follow each rain. May the hand of a friend always be near you. May God fill your heart with gladness to cheer. And may you be in heaven a half hour before the devil knows you've arrived.
That's a great story. You know, a number of the things that finished up at the end of the story, including that devil, is the way that man lives his life. So how about a big round of applause for him? We are very near the end of our formal remarks. We have about 5 minutes, maybe 6 more minutes we want to share with you. We had a great day today, Leadership Day. You've heard me reference it a couple of times. At the very end of Leadership Day, we had an open discussion with the broker, owner, and managers of Century 21 in Canada that are here with us today to talk a little bit about the future of our organization, and in particular, events like this conference that we have on an annual basis, as well as what we call our awards and kickoff, where we do the tour across the country in January. I promised when I took the mantle over from Don that I would work with our executive team in collaboration with our chairman and open doors, open drawers, look in closets, and shake stuff, and do a little bit, actually quite a lot of what Mr. Rick Davidson says. If it ain't if it's working, break it. And to that extent, we're really looking at ways in which we can enhance an annual event like a conference, and our awards run. So I'm going to ask our chairman to talk to you a little bit about some ideas that have been percolating in our minds, and we're going to want to get some feedback from you, and we're going to tell you about the mechanism by which we're going to actually try and get that feedback.
Yeah, this is a feedback issue. We've made no decisions, but we've bandied around a lot of ideas because, as I said today at Leadership Day, we regard ourselves to some degree as being in showbiz, and so do the brokers in our system, our franchisees, who have to entertain and create an environment that you want to be in, and an environment that attracts people from the competition. So, like Martin said, just because everything's worked wonderfully in the past, and has, and we kind of call you our Canada Conference groupies, we're looking to see how we might make this even better. So one of the thoughts we had, we started actually in '74, prepared the legal work, et cetera, I hired my first team in '75. We started selling franchises in late '75, and we opened January 15th, 1976. So in 2016, January the 15th, we'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary as an organization. So at our forget it. I was going to make a joke. No. Anyway, we'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary. So somebody on the executive team, and it wasn't me, came up and said, why don't we that year not do an awards run across the country, January, February, March, whatever? Why don't we not do a conference next year, 2015? Why don't we have a blowout event in January, latter part of January, early part of February, to celebrate our 40th anniversary and have a combined awards event and Canada Conference in Las Vegas? And I said, when this was tabled, I know when we announce this, or we announce it as a possibility, there will be overwhelming applause and raucous acceptance of the concept. And was there? I think so. But then I also said, hang on. Enthusiastic Las Vegas always elicits some kind of positive response. But I said, we are a relationship organization, and every year on our awards run and our Canada Conference, we're in front of about 2,000-ish people, which is only a quarter of our population, but that's the way the industry goes. Our competition goes up with exactly the same statistics. And I am not going to run the risk of not doing an awards run and only having 500 or 600 people show up in Las Vegas, because that would be a downer. It would mean we would not have exposure, we would not have a handshake with all the people that we regard as very important in our lives. So I said, so if we are going to consider this, I am going to throw out the challenge and say that we will send out a questionnaire to our system involving everybody. They'll have 3 boxes to be ticked. Will you come to a Canada Conference in January or early February 2016 instead of coming to an awards event like we normally do? If the answer is yes, you put a tick in the yes box, and then the second box comes up and says, and will you be willing to put up a non-refundable deposit to secure this? Because Las Vegas is a busy place, and we can't suddenly book something in Las Vegas sort of halfway through next year. We have to commit probably by no later than mid-November this year. So this is just a comment. The comment is we're going to send out this questionnaire. If there is overwhelming response and we get a minimum, in my view, I can accept 1,200, we would do it. If we don't get 1,200, I don't think we would want to do it. That would be sort of my position anyway. But I'm swayable. My executive team have good arguments, and we would certainly discuss it. In the event it was not going to be in Las Vegas, what we would then do, we'd do our regular awards event in January. Well, we're doing it anyway. The awards event is taking place in the month of January this year, because some of you have complained that in March it's too late to sort of kick off the year, so we're kicking it off by the end of January. We're definitely doing that. But if the response isn't overwhelmingly positive on numbers as it relates to Las Vegas, for that one event, the 40th anniversary, then we would do a Canada Conference in the fall of 2016 in Victoria, BC. So, for us now to do what we did this afternoon, to open the floor to input, would take us until midnight, and we are not going to do that. We just wanted to share with you what our thoughts were, and you will be getting that questionnaire. And whatever comes out as the feedback to us, we will put into effect and do. And whatever we do, we will try and do it really, really well.
We had a lot of debate back and forth with the management team. We had a very good dialogue with the leadership this afternoon. None of this is set in stone. We're going to poll. We're using Survey Mikey, our online survey thing. We're going to go to the 8,500 plus agent network across Canada. We're going to ask for a deadline. It'll come out shortly, but I think we're shooting for a November 1 deadline to make this call one way or the other. One of the things I just wanted you to be aware of, again, I mean, I'm so glad I didn't even rehearse with Rick, but if it ain't broke, definitely break it, was the theory. If we did become successful and did get enough people to vote and we did go to Las Vegas, that doesn't mean we're going to do Las Vegas forever. The whole point is we got to jazz it up. We're in show business. We got to do things differently, and you got to put some pizzazz into what you're doing. We heard what some of you in the audience said. We want you to know that we're reactive to it, and we're just trying to make Century 21 a smarter, bolder, and faster place. So there you have it, and we hope you appreciate that candor. I think we've had a great evening. This wraps up the formal comments. I would like now to invite Mrs. Barbara Frum up to the stage. She's got a few housekeeping comments, and then we're going to get out and have a little bit of fun. Thank you very much.